This scene represents one of the most iconic and influential moments in rock's history. The Pink Floyd playing a saucerful of secrets from the film Live at Pompeii, released in 1972. Dave Gilmour is sitting on the arena of the ancient amphitheater, producing sounds that, at the time, held an unprecedented power and an avant-garde appeal. Gilmour's effect pedals are also in the spotlight. Many players of today would consider it a basic setup, but back in the days it was an advanced and innovative rig. A central element of this rig was the Italian magnetic drum echo Benson Ecorec II T7E. The Ecorec would remain a pivotal component of Gilmour's rig throughout the most part of the 1970s. After the In the Flash tour, following the album Animals in 1977, Pink Floyd's guitarist decided it was time to move on. Reportedly, he was tired of taking care of the continuous maintenance that the delicate Benson echo demanded. He switched to modern digital delay racks, ensuring reliability and consistency of operation. But did Gilmour ever look back? I'm just about to answer this interesting question and introduce what I've nicknamed the Ecorec Reloaded, Donner Prince Booner Tube Deluxe. Backward, forward and sideways. If you love vintage and vintage-inspired guitar gear, subscribe to Bob's Stone Review, the channel with cherry sunburst frame. I guarantee that my content is serious and original, always based on documented first-hand information. Let me remind you that I have already discussed in depth the original vintage Benson Ecorec delay units in the episode BTR number 20, and also the recent T-Rex reincarnation in the last episode, BTR number 60. So if you are interested, please find these two videos linked on the end screen. Let's take off! Against all odds, the old technology of electromagnetic echoes is today back in demand. In fact, the consensus amongst discerning players and producers is that no contemporary delay pedal beats the sound and the articulation of an authentic tape or disc echo, at least as long as it is maintained in perfect working order. Unfortunately, this is exactly the sore spot. As Gilmour pointed out, the delicate original Ecorec units required a good deal of care and maintenance, even when they were brand new. Go figure now that they are 50 or 60-year-old pieces of vintage equipment. Also, vintage machines are monstrous in weight and size in comparison to contemporary pedals. That's why, for the last 15 years, several manufacturers are striving to create a convincing emulation of tape delays using digital technology. The goal is trying to get the best of both worlds, enjoying the flexibility, consistency, versatility, reliability and practicality of digital technology while trying to emulate quality and character of old electromechanical devices. In essence, the dream of many companies is creating a delay pedal with tape echo tone without the challenges, the unpredictability and other downsides of vintage equipment. I won't hide that so many have failed abysmally. On the other hand, some pedals succeeded in finding a balanced compromise. The Booner delay made in Croatia by Donner Prince is one of those. Like many companies, Donner Prince started from passion. Its founder, Zoran Kreglevich, discovered his love for audio electronics while building pedals for his bandmates and friends. With the cooperation of his wife Yelena, in 2009 he officially established his company, which remains a family-run business to this day. The Boonar arrived in 2015, a Benson EcoRec emulator pedal that gained widespread popularity. Just in case you are wondering, the name Boonar might be misinterpreted with a Nordic connotation, but it's actually more innocent than it seems. It's the phonetic English transposition of a Croatian word that means water well, evoking echoey room acoustics. Now back to the initial question. Did Gilmour ever look back with interest at the EcoRec after he switched to modern digital delays? Yes, indeed, in more recent years, Gilmour has sought ways to replicate his signature delay tones, the stunning echo effects he achieved early in his career with the faithful Benson EcoRec Second T7E. At the same time, he doesn't want to give up the great advantages that new technologies have brought to his setup. The Boonar pedal had earned such solid reputation to catch the attention of Mr. David Gilmour in person during his search for a convincing EcoRec emulator. Indeed, our story starts here, when Gilmour's guitar tech Phil Taylor and Zoran Kragljevits of Donor Prince crossed their paths. Zoran, in a blog post, describes all the enthusiasm and excitement of the moment. His small company had the incredible opportunity to collaborate with one of the greatest guitar legends. Naturally, this was an opportunity he couldn't let slip away. Taylor reported valued feedback from David Gilmour on how to improve the Boonar design. These suggestions included a display showing the delay time in milliseconds and MIDI-controlled presets for accessing and editing stored parameters. This led to the project of a Boonar pedal tweaked or remodeled after Gilmour's guidelines. Zoran committed to hard work in order to improve his engineering skills and translate Gilmour's requests into practice. This was no walk in the park. At one point, it became clear that the initial idea of a simple redesign of the Boonar was not viable. An ever-growing list of new ideas necessitated starting a whole new project from scratch. In particular, the new project involved a tube-driven preamp and was hence given the straightforward name Boonar Tube Deluxe. It took about 8 years of difficult gestation, alternating between moments of enthusiasm and periods of discomfort, and obstacles such as the setback of the pandemic. In February 2024, the new creation was finally ready to undergo the rigorous testing and quality control of David Gilmour. In June 2024, the pedal was officially launched, though released in very limited quantities. As a new batch of these pedals is finally available, Donor Prince was happy to embrace the Bob Stone Review EcoRec Challenge and sent me a Boonar Tube Deluxe for an even more rigorous testing. In my video BTR number 49, I explain in detail my personal method for using digital pedals. Essentially, I set up a pedal board with two parallel signal paths, one for pure analog tone, and the other running through digital effects. Each path has its own dedicated output. Well, the Boonar is a hybrid pedal, meaning that it already does it on its own. In fact, only the echo effect itself is created with digital processing, while the dry signal path and the mix section remain strictly analog. This is not a new idea. Several pedals made by Source Audio, Subdecay, Kathleen Brad, and Strymon are already designed this way. However, the Boonar Tube Deluxe takes hybrid design to the next level in terms of quality and sophistication, to the point that it has a dual nature and almost feels like two pedals in one. The affected or wet component follows the same concept of the first version of the Boonar. A virtual simulation of the Benson's 4 playback head magnetic drum system is created using digital signal processing or DSP technology. The Tube Deluxe features a more advanced algorithm than the original Boonar, designed to replicate the physical behavior of the electromechanical revolving drum even more faithfully. The digital processing of the repeats offers the flexibility of a complete control over every parameter. The dry audio signal is all analog, following the same path as the original Ecorec T7E, with a preamp based on a dual-tried vacuum tube design. The tube's plate and grid operate on high voltages, up to 350 volts DC. This required internal voltage step-up circuitry and the development of a special design power supply adapter to ensure quiet, studio-grade performance. Letting the tube warm up for a minute before playing is best practice. A touch of class for the cool Ecorec vibe is the Magic-Eye level indicator, released with an authentic EM81 NOS tube with dedicated driver circuitry. Additionally, Jelena did an excellent job with the pedal's aesthetics. In essence, the Boonar Tube Deluxe presents itself as a top-end product, creating high expectations. Like most pedals, it is not intuitive at first approach and comes with a learning curve. It's crucial to figure out how the 8 buttons for the head switching mechanism work. The Ecorec second T7E model from the 1960s had a 12-position rotary selector switch to choose each of the 4 heads plus 8 preset head combinations. The Boonar Tube Deluxe aims to faithfully recreate this model, but, taking some creative license, adopts the most complete playback head switching system from the PE603T of the early 1970s. This Studio Rack model featured 4 individual switches for the playback heads, allowing any of the 16 possible head combinations, plus 4 more feedback switches. When a feedback button is pressed, part of the signal from the corresponding playback head is sent back to the record head. The function of these 8 switches on the Boonar Tube Deluxe depends on the status of the swell repeats foot switch on the left. When the switch LED indicator is off, you're working on the standard repeats mode, which provides multiple repetitions depending on the length of swell control. Like analog units, extreme settings of the swell will produce virtually infinite self-oscillation. Each of the lower back buttons enables or disables feedback from the corresponding playhead. If no playhead is selected with the upper buttons, the back switches are not functional. Hence, to get feedback signal, at least one playhead must be active. When the swell repeats foot switch indicator lights up, you engage the swell mode. In this mode, part of the signal from all four playback heads is sent to the output mixer, creating a reverb-like effect reminiscent of the water well sound that inspired the pedal's name. On vintage Italian EcoRec units, this was named Halo mode. When swell mode is active, the upper playback heads switches have no effect, and back switches can be used to enable or disable feedback loops or regeneration signals from each playhead. I have to say that the interactions with the feedback signal create the most desirable effects. Standard repeats mode with no back buttons selected is not so exciting. The flaws and unpredictability of old tape or disc echo delays contribute to their pleasant, organic, and articulated sound. Paradoxically, modern sophisticated technology aims to recreate the mechanical quirks of obsolete echo machines. The drum edge control is designed with this in mind. It introduces subtle modulation effects while smoothing out high frequencies and volume of the echo repeats. Interestingly, the rate of these modulation effects follows the drum speed. While the original T7E came with a fixed drum speed, the SP technology allows you to vary the speed of the virtual drum without compromising sound quality. This extends the maximum delay time to almost 1 full second. For finer regulation, you can press the knob and adjust in small steps of 1 millisecond. The highlight, or as we say in Italy, the main dish of the new Bonar is the preset switching. While finding your favorite settings might take some tweaking, you can save the entire state of the pedal to up to 16 onboard presets, organized into 4 banks. The presets can be edited and named, which should not be overlooked, as it helps quickly recall the desired effect and also helps to prevent accidental overwriting. I have to note that browsing presets with onboard buttons and switches is a bit awkward. In this regard, MIDI integration helps and even allows you to save up to 127 presets. If you dial knobs in preset mode, a reference of the stored value appears on the upper right corner of the display, which is fundamental for editing presets. The Bonar Tube Deluxe comes with a remote foot switch that can be assigned one of 3 alternative functions through the internal menu, one of which is tap tempo. Expression pedal compatibility for any of the 6 control knobs and USB port for firmware updates complete the picture of the flexibility and practicality offered by digital technology. Now, what do I think of this pedal? Speaking in general, I'm not a fan of digital effects. Usually, on slide licks or in long sustained notes with pronounced string bending, I perceive tiny seams introduced by digital sampling. Also, I tend to complain lack of thickness and texture feeling. The Bunner Tube Deluxe features an advanced algorithm and sets itself apart as a groundbreaking advancement in vintage Echo digital emulation. Although the repeats may not be quite as expressive as an original Echo Rec, I found these differences practically imperceptible. However, where the Bunner Tube Deluxe truly shines is the final effect it produces, especially within the context of a band's sound. It is within the mix of the band's sound that the tone of any piece of gear should be evaluated. Many delay pedals either produce subtle repeats that get lost in the mix or intrusive repeats that result in a muddy or mushy guitar tone. It's often hard to find the right balance between these extremes. This is where the Bunner Tube Deluxe proves to be a professional studio-grade product. It delivers killer, biting guitar tone, with repeats that cut sharply and distinctly through the band's mix. The echoes are warm and never sound muddy or interfere with the original guitar's tone. The tube preamp for dry input signal has 2 alternative settings in the menu that are named Original and Modern. For once, the modern setting is my favorite, creating gorgeous guitar tone. My Les Pauls with P90s sound incredible, really sharp with juicy and round saturation. Even if the on-off switch can be set to true bypass through the menu, I warmly recommend that you use the pedal in buffer bypass mode, so you can benefit from the tube preamp even without echo. Additionally, in buffer bypass, you can enable the delay trails for a natural decay effect of the repeats after you switch off the echo. Just keep in mind that in this mode, self-oscillation will keep going forever, even when the pedal is turned off. Another feature I love in this pedal is the separate wet output. This output is balanced and transformer isolated, which makes it ideal for connecting to mixing desks and quiet studio operation. When the wet output is connected, the affected signal is automatically cut out from the regular mono output, leaving it reserved for the dry analog signal. The solution is also great for playing in stereo, with two amplifiers, which I usually do in studio. The Boonar Tube Deluxe comes with an exclusive price of about $1,200 or euros, hardly within reach of an average gigging musician. Is it worth this significant expense? This new Boonar confirms to be a boutique quality product, handmade with meticulous care in every single detail. It's impressive to note that, at least in this run of pedals, the vacuum tube is an authentic new old stock Sylvania made in the USA. With the addition of the EM81 Magic Eye valve, you're getting about $50 worth of tubes alone. This indicates that we are not talking about your typical commercial stamp box. The exceptional sound quality and reliability of this pedal didn't just happen by chance. It's the result of quality craftsmanship and premium components, not to mention the extensive research and work involved. To sum up, the Boonar Tube Deluxe can be reasonably defined as the ultimate EcoRec emulator. It's an exclusive product produced in small quantities aimed at recording studios and professionals. As far as room for improvement is concerned, the OLED screen could be larger, especially to the delight of the guitarists over 40. Some reviewers have also complained about the high current draw, but they don't share their concern. If you aim for the sound quality of a high-voltage tube-driven preamp, you cannot expect the current draw of a fuzz pedal. The Tube Deluxe will need its own original power supply in your pedal board. For your Thomann shopping, please remember to use my affiliate link, which is also in the description. You will support the Bobstone Review channel at no additional cost. As for the result of our EcoRec challenge, this picture shows Dave Gilmour with both a Boonar Tube Deluxe and a T-Rex Benson EcoRec, which we saw in the last episode, BTR number 60. It almost seems like he's wondering which one to choose. I believe that for general purpose and studio use, the T-Rex is worth the extra investment. The echo repeats from its real electromechanical revolving drum are truly amazing. On the other hand, the Boonar Tube Deluxe is the ultimate solution for the touring guitarist, especially when time for regular maintenance is tight and presets are in demand for a seamless live performance. Thanks to the great sounding analog tube preamp and advanced algorithms, you will still enjoy top-notch tone, with echo repeats always cutting nicely through the band's mix. Please let me know your thoughts and feedbacks in the comments below. Subscribe now and click the bell to keep posted. Check out all the Bobstone Review web links.